Welcome everyone to my kayak setup video. When people ask me what are the first things I should pick up when kayak fishing, my response will always be safety. Kayaks are small boats that are easily pushed around by the big ocean, and you need a plan for if something goes wrong. My top 3 safety items would be a life jacket, a PLB, and a marine radio. Item number 1 is the life jacket. My life jacket is the single most important piece of equipment on board the kayak. I always wear my life jacket at all times, and I highly suggest you do as well. Inside my life jacket is a pocket knife. I can pull this knife out if I ever get tangled up in fishing line or any of the other rope that I have on board. This also doubles as a good spear knife in case I forget my main one. Item number 2 is the radio. My radio provides the best form of communication on the water. Channel 16 is a direct lifeline to other boats and the Coast Guard in the area. It's also a popular way to communicate boat to boat, and us kayakers also use this. This radio is waterproof and floating. Item 3 is my personal locator beacon, or PLB. I would never venture out as far as I do now without one on board. All of my details are registered to the beacon, so if I set it off, the emergency services will have a much easier time finding me. If I'm in danger, all I need to do is set this off and someone will be on the way to help me. It's a big peace of mind when I'm out over 8 kilometers hunting big fish. Both the radio and locator beacon are attached to me on my life jacket with carabiner clips and also cord. The next piece of kit is the safety flag at the rear of the kayak. This is to signal to other boaties that I'm out here and I'm very low to the water. Often when you're in a big swell, boaties just can't see you. You'll come right up over a wave and then come down, and you'll disappear completely. Having something about a metre up and orange will really help the visibility. My phone also comes with me in a waterproof bag so that I always have 3 forms of communication on me. This will also be around my neck so it's unable to go anywhere if I fall out. Up the top of my flag I have an all-around white light. This is used for early morning and evening fishing. Since the kayak is an unpowered craft, I have to legally show one of these. This is for early morning fishing when it's really dark. The next item I bring with me always is a first aid kit, and I have that tucked in behind me here. And a nice little dry bag. Duct tape is handy for fixing a range of problems like paddle breaks, leaks in the hull, and even to wrap around my finger if I've got a hook in it. When I'm out on the water, I really like to take my sun protection seriously. I wear a neck gaiter, fully sleeved arms and legs, and also sunnies to protect my eyes. And often when I'm out on the water I have my gaiter right up here to protect my nose and my ears, because that's the thing that gets burnt the most. It's important to wear clothing that's going to keep you warm if you fall out and are in the water for a length of time. In the winter I'd recommend wearing a full wetsuit or dry suit. When the water warms to around 20 degrees I like to wear quick drying thermals. Gloves have always been an important part of my kayaking. They provide a barrier between hooks and fish spines. I definitely enjoy the extra grip when holding onto slippery fish like gurnard. Paddling long distances with gloves is so much easier. Now that I've got safety out of the way, we can move on to the practical features of the kayak. First of which is the anchor and pulley system. My anchor is deployed using a running rope attached to the left hand side of the kayak. I simply drop my 1.5 kilo grapnel down to the bottom and then attach a buoy. Once the buoy has hold of the anchor, I let the line out until I am at least 15 to 20 meters away. I clip the rope to my pulley, which I slide along behind me to point my nose downwind. When hooked up to a big fish, it's significantly harder for them to foul on the rope, giving me the chance to dump the anchor and then play the fish out under tow. Secondly, my tackle pod, which holds all my food, fishing gear and other tools that I may need while I'm out on the water. Now see, which is used for my back comfort when I'm out on the water for over 8 hours. My rudder steering system at the front is just another pulley. In order to steer a long kayak like this, my feet push forward and back to turn it. Just behind the seat, I have my catch bag. This is insulated. This bag holds all my ice, bait, and any fish that I decide to keep. It can fit snapper upwards of 80 centimeters and kingfish over 1 meter too. It's actually very, very spacious down the back here. My burley pot here doubles as a towable live bait tank. I like to use the small sniffer pot as it only holds 1.5 kilos compared to the normal 3 kilos, and that's just a bit much to put burley into for me. I have it attached to this 3mm cord, and I just have that sitting next to the boat. I've made quite a few custom attachments to improve certain aspects of my fishing. The first are the rod leashes. They're made from stainless steel clips, elastic cord, and heat shrink. Having a leash on all my rods is insurance in case they take an unplanned dip. All of these leashes are attached to the side of the kayak with a stainless steel clip. Railblazer starports are placed each side of my seat to house 2 fishing rods. These are the perfect place for bottom fishing, and I could also use them for trolling. My front Railblazer board hosts 2 starports as well. This is used with my camera pole, my GoPro on it. I can take photos and video off of this front pole, and it's got me some amazing pictures over the years. Around the kayak, I've placed tie downs for both my catch bag and tackle pod. This is extra security in case I capsize in the surf or in open water. At the front of my yak are the rod tubes, another thing I designed for surf landings. My rods are threaded into these and then tied down with elastic. 2 pieces of elastic go on at the rear end of the rods. The tips are pushed up into the tubes to prevent them from snapping if I roll over. Section 4 is my onboard fishing gear. I'm going to start off with the most common rods I take out on the kayak. My light setup, which is used for live bait fishing and soft baiting. It's a Sedona XT 5000 on a katana rod. The next rod you'll probably recognise as my Torium 14 HG. It's mounted on a 7-foot rod, around 6 to 10 kilos, and is perfect for the inshore fishing that I do quite often. I've also used it for albacore tuna and kingfish too. The big set I've been using recently is my Torium 16 PG on a vortex rod, but I broke that recently, so I've now got a backbone rod. This rod and reel is what I use for kingfish, and it's got 50-pound line on it. Very short rod, this one, only 5'6". My other rod is a Cortez CZ5S. This has been going strong for about 5 or 6 years now. Hasn't shown any signs of slowing down with a bit of servicing, so this is the one that goes on the other side of the boat in the other holder. My tackle pod houses all of the gear that I'll need throughout the day. It happens to be a big time saver too, as I can just drop it straight in out of the car and don't need to pack anything when I get there in the morning. My rigs and lures are all sealed from salt water in plastic containers. I have everything pre-tied with sinkers already attached to save time out on the water. I also bring a Blackmagic hook remover, pliers, and also split ring pliers for when I'm jigging, measuring tape for those smaller fish like blue cod and gurnard, and Blackmagic scales for recording those larger fish I want to release. My knife also sits on the tackle pod in this little mount, perfect to grab when I need to cut up some bait. My Blackmagic net is one of the most important items on the boat. Its massive size allows me to net 20-pound snapper. Get in there this time, yes! And tuna. I net all the fish I intend to eat, so there's no chance of them getting off. Many species have a soft mouth, like Trevally and John Dory. In any case, it's a much more consistent way to land fish, and it's saved me a heap of grief in the past. I use a Raymarine Element 7HV as my fish finder. I've set it up in a way so it's completely removable, so I can clean all the individual parts when I get off the salt. My screen screws into my tackle pod here, using the plastic mount that comes with the element. The wiring heads towards the bow and goes through the hatch at the front. I've drilled a hole through so both my battery and transducer are shielded from the water. My battery sits on a bracket hanging from the hull's roof and is secured in with an elastic tie down. The Hypervision transducer is exceptionally long and doesn't fit into the standard transducer bracket on the underside of the kayak. I needed to put it inside the hull. All I do is scoop a small amount of salt water into the hull, making a small puddle of water underneath the transducer. This will beam right through the plastic and give me a clear picture. Going to a simple system is just how I like it. Limited setup and easy to use. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope it gives you some ideas for your next kayak project. Duct tape. I can't get a laugh. That is so good.